October 2021 and I've headed for flat lands of Lincolnshire to climb a really steep hill. Set on a high ridge with clear views for miles across the low-lying land, the location of Lincoln has ensured its importance through the ages. With the Romans' arrival in the year 48, they quickly fortified Lindum with a fortress on top of a hill, securing the northern end of the Fosse Way that linked modern-day Exeter with Bath, Cirencester, Leicester and Lincoln. After another conquest, this time by the Normans in the 11th century, the site the Romans had fortified was reused to create an impressive castle, almost unique in the country in having two mottes. Only Lewes Castle in East Sussex is built in a similar fashion. The castle was besieged in both the 1141 and 1217 battles of Lincoln. Over time, though, the role of castle changed, and by the 18th century the castle had evolved into a centre for justice and punishment. The prison survived until the latter part of the 19th century, at which point the prisoners were relocated to a new purpose-built prison on the outskirts of town. However, the 1823-built Assizes Court that occupied the rear of the site is still in use to today as Lincoln Crown Court. With a highly secure site, it was only natural that it would become the home to one of Lincoln's most treasured items. Lincoln Cathedral's original copy of the Magna Carta, sent to the cathedral in 1215 following the meeting between King John and his barons at Runnymede. The remainder of the prison is now open to visit, a tour that starts in the former women's prison. Before moving through to the much larger men's wing. The cells have been restored to the conditions they had been at various stages during the life of the prison. Facing the castle and occupying the same ridge of high ground is Lincoln Cathedral, also built by the Normans at the end of the 11th century. Building work continued for centuries. For nearly 240 years between the completion of the spire in 1311 and its collapse in 1548, it's believed to have been the tallest building in the world. The cathedral is also home to the Lincoln Imp. According to legend, 2 imps were sent by the devil to cause mayhem on Earth. After arriving at Cathedral to cause trouble, an angel appeared and turned one of the imps to stone. "17 miles to the southeast of Lincoln is the small village of Tattershall, home to Tattershall Castle. The castle is rare in England in being brick built, having been rebuilt on the site of a former stone castle or fortified manor house in the mid-15th century. Only the Great Tower of the original building survives, and by the late 19th century it was in a poor state, being used by farm animals and as a dovecote. In 1910 it was put up for sale, and the medieval fireplaces that had survived into the 20th century were sold, stripped and prepared to be shipped to America. At the last minute, Lord Curzon of Kedleston stepped in to buy the castle and bring the fireplaces back. He was successful, and the return of the fireplaces was greeted with some celebration. He then set about restoring the castle to how it would have looked during its heyday. But Lord Curzon didn't stop at Tattershall Castle. His experience led him to push for heritage protection laws in Britain to stop a repeat of what had happened at Tattershall. Following his campaigning, in 1913, the Ancient Monuments Consolidation and Amendment Act came into force, and from there, the modern process of categorising heritage sites as ancient monuments and bringing them into the care of the nation was started. By 1931, over 3,000 monuments had been listed with preservation orders and over 200 taken into public ownership. Lord Curzon himself died in 1925 and in his will left Tattershall Castle to the National Trust, opening up access to the public to the site. From the roof of the castle you can take in the views of the countryside, with the towers of Lincoln Cathedral visible on the horizon some 17 miles away. "32 miles northwest of Tattershall is Gainsborough. The town is home to one of the best preserved medieval manor houses in England. Gainsborough Old Hall was built in 1460 by Sir Thomas Burgh and remained in the family until the 5th Lord Burgh, also called Thomas, died without an heir in 1596. And, as is fitting for my travels around England in 2021, has a connection back to Henry VIII, who visited the hall twice, once in 1509 and again in 1541. On the second visit, the Queen, Catherine Howard, was accused of indiscretions whilst at the hall, and that directly led to her execution. Henry then married Catherine Parr, who had, until he died in 1533, been the wife of Sir Edward. The large kitchen is believed to be the most complete medieval kitchen in England and still contains many of its original features, including the 2 large fireplaces, each large enough to roast an ox. You can climb the northeast tower of the house and from its roof take in the views across the landscape. LNER run trains every 2 hours direct to London King's Cross. There's also local services across the East Midlands and on into Yorkshire, connecting to the rest of the UK rail network.